What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and I did not see Yay Goldberg 2024 on the presidential bingo card. Well, any Yay and anybody with the last name that ends in Berg, I suppose, but Yay Whoopi Goldberg apparently is a thing. That's right. Whoopi just can't stop making weird, bizarre statements about the events that led up to the Second World War. She's obsessed with it. And sometimes when people tell you who they are, you got to believe them. You got to understand they're telling you who they are. And, you know, when you look at what happened to Ye, for example, the man lost everything. Now, what he has said is obviously more heinous than the things that Whoopi Goldberg continues to repeat. But this is something that she was put on unpaid vacation for not that long ago, and she immediately repeats it. I mean, like, I don't even understand. Whoopi Goldberg doubles down and defends her views on the terrible event that led to her original suspension from The View, declares that it was, in fact, not racial. So is she saying, like, it wasn't so bad because it was really just like white on white crime? Is that what she, is that her? I'm actually like, now I see a lot of people explaining this away in some of the Twitter threads, like trying to attach some rationale that Whoopi Goldberg clearly does not have. Like, oh, well, maybe she means it this way or that way. Or no. She's just like literally 10 toes on the line saying that their race had nothing to do with it. Now, there are some people say, well, you know, when you know, if you are somebody who hates people for just how they look, for example, it's easier to determine that a black person is black than a Jewish person is a Jew, and therefore she has a point. I've seen that. I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like she's upset that what happened to that group of people is seen as worse than what happened to her group of people. I don't understand. I really don't. By the way, she picked that last name, I think, you know, when she went to Hollywood. That's not her real last name. So I wonder, you know, I don't know why she picked it, but when she was going into Hollywood, I don't know what her actual real last name is. But anyway, calls it white on white. It says Jews are not a race. Look, even if you believe this stuff, right? I'm not an expert. I've said this many times before, and like my Jewish viewers have been kind to me. I have a Jewish friend, one that I know of. I only know he's Jewish because he's constantly making Jewish jokes. But like, you know, in good heart, you know, but like, I'm just oblivious to a lot of this stuff. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I do have more Jewish. I don't talk about people's religions or their races or their histories or where they go to church or what. I don't know. I could have. I mean, so like, I don't know why Whoopi Goldberg is so obsessed with it, going on 70 years old. But it's like she's trying to torpedo her career. Whoopi Goldberg has once again claimed that the events that led up to the Second World War were not about race, insisting that the bad guys were not ending racially, and repeating the argument that saw her suspended in February from her $8 million a year role hosting The View. The Oscar-winning actress was suspended from The View back in February for saying that it was not about race, but rather white-on-white behavior and a man's inhumanity to man, and that the interviewer was told in advance not to discuss that in the show. Yet Goldberg readily repeated her controversial comments. So essentially, she's doing another interview a couple days ago or whatever, and the interviewer asks, "Hey, how about them Jews?" You know, like, I don't know, like, hey, you still have this, like, you know, opinion about Jewish people? Like, obviously that reporter's doing what they do. And she readily repeated her controversial comments when it was pointed out that the bad guys from the Second World War certainly believed that it was about race. She writes, "Yeah, but that's the killer, isn't it?" She told the Times of London, "The oppressor is telling you what they are. Why are you believing them? They're the bad guys from World War II. Why believe what they're saying?" What? What? Whose side is Whoopi Goldberg on? Remember who they were ending first. They were not going racial. They were going physical. They were ending people they considered to be mentally defective. And they made this decision. What? She said that being Jewish was not a race like being black because it's not identifiable. What? What? I bet you this is why she really quit Twitter. She knew this interview was coming out. She goes on to say, "It doesn't change the fact that you could not tell a Jew on the street." That's not true. Hasidic Jews have physical traits that are pretty easily identifiable, right? The Shylocks? Is that Hasidic Jews? Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, how about, like there's others, it probably doesn't apply to all Jewish people. But there are certainly physical traits that get attached to that group of people. Now, yes, I agree. It's easier to say, oh, that person's black versus that person's Jewish. But is that really the hill she's trying to die on? I think that she must. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, does she just think it's not fair that people who are Jewish are viewed as having gone through a rougher time? I don't know why she continues to like try to torpedo her entire career like this. And by the way, she'll get no consequences. I mean, look, she said it once, she was suspended. She went and doubled down on it again. Now, if this was yay, his bank accounts would be frozen. Certainly, she should have been fired by now, don't you think? After she put out this fake apology. So she didn't mean this apology, right? The apology said, "On today's show, I said that the events that led to the Second World War is not about race, but about a man's inhumanity to man." Well, then you should say that about slavery, right? Is that her opinion? "I should have said it is about both." Well, that was kind of a mealy-mouthed apology. As Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL shared, the event was about systematic removal of Jewish people who they deemed as an inferior race. "I stand corrected. My sincerest apologies." That was earlier this year. That isn't a tweet from 20 years ago. That's earlier this year. Now, of course, she was speaking to the Times of London to promote her new film, Till, and return to the fraught territory she had previously waded into, questioning the biology of trans people, claiming she was not harassed as an actress because she was intimidating and black, and saying she was confused why actresses who had people put their hands on them against their will just took it. What? Goldberg was also recently embroiled in a row about trans people and found herself accused of phobia after she said men don't have eggs during a discussion about, based. They don't. It's always interesting to watch, these people, the left, eat themselves, because it's like they don't believe half the things that they say. It's just that sometimes they forget the talking points. They forget their like NPC programming goes away. Something happens. This is like, I don't think that Whoopi Goldberg, why is she, I'm not calling for her termination. Okay. But I'm curious as to why she has not been fired, given that is the standard that we have now applied, right? Yikes. Again, I'm not Jewish. I'm not offended. I also understand history. And yes, it is nuanced, but I mean, you're talking about, you know, what is her end game here? To get fired? To have her bank drop her? To have her kids? I don't know if she has any kids, but I mean, like, and by the way, Whoopi Goldberg on being canceled and why she's still wild at 67. She never got canceled. She got a paid week off work. Ask Ye about what it's like to be canceled. That guy says bank accounts frozen. He went from a billionaire to broke overnight by doing a few podcasts, essentially, and saying some unhinged things. Don't you think that? I mean, I think Whoopi should probably step down. The thing is, she meant it. She still means it. She'll issue a fake apology now. You see harsh reaction from the ADL. So the ADL actually said something. Tells you today, Whoopi Goldberg's comments about that and race are deeply offensive and incredibly disappointing, especially given that this is not the first time she's made remarks like this. In a moment when anti-Semitic incidents have surged, have they, across the United States? I'm just saying, maybe you should share some statistics or something to, prove it maybe. She should realize that making such ignorant statements can have real consequences. He added, Whoopi needs to apologize to the Jewish community immediately and actually commit to educating herself on the true nature of anti-Semitism and how it was the driving force behind the systematic removal of millions. She shouldn't do it for the ratings. She should simply do it because it's the right thing to do. Failure to address the issue would raise serious questions about her sincerity and solidarity with her Jewish viewers and those who experience hate. It sounds like a threat. That's what it sounds like to me. But of course, I don't know. I think, and I've said this a couple times today, when people tell you who they are, listen. She clearly has some issues with Jewish people that she's not expressing, that she's pretending she doesn't have. She almost certainly has some issues. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see if she faces any consequences. If you didn't yet, please do leave a like on this and hit that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.